Ben Walsh. Thank you so much for taking time to sit down with us this morning. And Zoom to meeting. It's a great little piece of technology here.
Yeah, happy to do it. We're all getting used to new and different ways to meet.
Yeah, for sure. So can you tell us where the city of Syracuse currently stands in terms of like rules or any mandates that restaurants should be following right now?
Yeah, so we are looking to the state for most of that guidance, also coming from at the county level. But the Governor Cuomo has been issuing a series of executive orders that impact businesses and specifically restaurants and bars. And all of it is being done, obviously, in response to the coronavirus and trying to what everyone says is flattening the curve, trying to reduce the spread of the virus. We know it's here. We know it's going to continue to spread, but we're trying to minimize the spread or slow down the spread so our healthcare infrastructure can handle those that are in most need of care. So as it stands right now, and I will qualify anything that I say about the rules with the fact that when in doubt, it's going to be the state and the State Department of Health that are going to have the final word. But right now, restaurants no restaurant should be open to the public for eat-in dining. Restaurants do have the ability to do takeout, and I've seen many restaurants kind of adjust their operations to account for that. We understand that is by no means does that make up for lost business from eat-in dining. I think it's an effort from the governor to try to keep some level of revenue coming in. There are other communities that are doing complete lockdowns. I think Governor Cuomo has tried really hard to not get there through executive order. That said, we are all trying to minimize the amount of social interaction that happens, but people need to eat, and we need to keep the food supply chain moving, both for restaurants and other related businesses like grocery stores. We've seen what's happened with the run on grocery stores. We need to keep that food supply moving. So right now, again, all restaurants should be limiting themselves to takeout only options, and even still practicing social distancing. But we know how difficult that this is on the restaurant industry.
Yeah, I've seen some restaurant owners who have been posting, and I think there's a lot more who, if asked, would do this. But restaurants, because of not only shut down, and some restaurants like Amano decided to not do any deliveries or takeouts for different reasons. And other restaurants, they have a full stock or had a full stock of food ready to go, and that food could potentially spoil because of either slowing down in business or they shut down. So I think for anybody who's listening to this, if you are struggling to get to a grocery store, it is always an option to contact your local restaurant and see, is there anything that you need to sell or, to get rid of so it doesn't spoil, whatever the case is. Like I said, I know of a few restaurants that have been posting about that, and it helps out, obviously, the consumer and the business owner.
Yeah, that's good advice. And, I think to your point, every restaurant owner has to make the decision as to whether or not it makes financial sense to try to stay open under those modified terms, or whether or not it's better just to shut down. Those are really not good options, obviously, but that's the reality that we're working with. But we are trying to make sure that there are some resources available both for restaurant owners and employees to try to mitigate what I think we would all agree is a crippling impact on a lot of these businesses.
So to that point, we know that there's been some federal things that have come out that are going to offer paid leave for employees should they get sick or should their company shut down, whatever the case is. or like at this point, it's 25% staffing if it's a non-essential business. So there's resources at the federal level that's available, but also locally. Yesterday, you announced that the Syracuse Economic Development has a new program in place for small business owners. Can you
Yeah,
talk a little bit about that?
I can. So the Syracuse Economic Development Corporation, or SEDCO, uh, is an organization that's affiliated with the city. It's run out of our Department of Neighborhood and Business Development, and its purpose is to offer low interest loans to small businesses in the city. It's been doing it for a long time, but in light of the pandemic, we looked at SEDCO's existing resources and decided to, we took to the board a request to set aside pretty much all of SEDCO's unallocated capital, which is about $500,000, specifically for emergency relief for small businesses. So the board authorized yesterday a $500,000 emergency loan pool. We're offering zero interest loans to small businesses in the city for 180 days. And it's really just to help businesses get through this difficult time. Obviously, grants would be better than loans, but those are harder to come by. But with these loans, we again are trying to provide some flexible capital that can help people just make ends meet as they work their way through this. So the application will be available on our city website starting on Monday. We'll have a loan committee that will meet once a week to review any applications. The only criteria are small business with less than 50 employees, located in the city of Syracuse, and able to show a loss within the last 60 days associated with the coronavirus pandemic. So again, there are other resources out there, and ideally no one would have to tap into this fund, but we were able to activate it quickly, and sometimes that's half the battle. So that'll be out there starting next week, and encourage restaurant owners, small business owners to reach out, inquire, and if necessary, apply.
I know this is kind of a tough question for the mayor to answer, especially in these times, but would you advise people to still be, with everything that's going on, to still be going out there and standing in line, getting takeout, things like that? Or would you advise people to kind of hunker down as much as possible?
Yeah, it is a tough question. The short answer is yes, people should be hunkered down as much as possible. That being said, people need to eat, and whether it's because of time or lack of the ability to get groceries and supplies, cooking at home is not always an option. And so, again, to the extent that our restaurants are willing and able to provide that service for people is critically important to help us get through this crisis. So, when you can avoid it, it's best just to stay home and slow down the spread. But if you need food and you want to support a local business in a safe way, then at this point in time, people should get out there and support their local restaurants again when it's safe.
Yeah. My last question, because I know you're really busy, is just if you could tell us a little bit about the importance of, everybody's been getting their census information in the mail, and especially at a time like this where the city's providing this amazing program through SEDCO for small businesses that have experienced this loss. Can you just tell us a little bit about the importance of Syracuse residents filling out their census information?
Absolutely. A lot of people are asking me right now, what can I do to help? And there's a lot of things, but big picture, long term, one of the most important things that everyone can do is to fill out their census form. So yesterday I came home, I received a letter from the census in the mail. That's not the form itself. It directs you to their website where you fill it out. It took me probably 5 minutes, but so many of the federal resources that we benefit from here in Syracuse are based off of our population. Our population is based off of the census. And if we don't get a full and accurate count, we stand to lose millions of dollars of federal resources, and including emergency resources. So as the federal government is rolling out their relief programs, they're going to use the census to inform how they allocate those resources. So it's critically important. It's easy. So I encourage everyone not only to fill out their own census, but encourage friends, family, colleagues, coworkers to do the same.
Okay, great. Well, Mayor Walsh, thank you so much again for taking the time to be on. I really appreciate it.
Sure thing. Thank you. Thank all of your listeners, especially our restaurant owners. There's so many that are on the front lines of this pandemic, and we appreciate the fact that people are still willing and able to get us meals when we need them.
Yeah, awesome.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye.